Blends. This is the fourth of 4 videos which are part of my Under My Umbrella Stampin Blends class. And this was an in-person class that I had to cancel with the current situation in the world. So I have created video tutorials for each one of the 4 projects, and I'm offering it to everyone for free, not just those who registered, because those who did register and pay for the class also received the Under My Umbrella bundle and all of the supplies to create the projects. So this is the 4th project, and each project demonstrates how we can use our Stampin' Blends as well as techniques on how to use them. So in this video I'm going to demonstrate a really easy post-it note holder. It's super cute and a really fun technique using our Stampin' Blends and window sheets. So I know this is probably a bit tricky to see with the camera, but hopefully you can. So because I'm using a window sheet, I need to stamp on top of this with my StazOn, and StazOn ink and photopolymer are not something you would normally use together, because StazOn will kind of stick to the stamp. Usually when you're using your photopolymer, you would use your Memento. However, I am going to use StazOn because I need to use StazOn on my window sheet. So the trick with this is making sure that the ink pad is well inked. You want it to be really, really wet. And I'm inking up that umbrella. And I'm just going to stamp it right down, pushing firmly and lifting up. You don't want to wiggle it too much because it'll be slippery on the window sheet. Now I'm stamping 2 of these. I'm going to set that aside for a second. It'll dry pretty quick, but I'm going to set that aside. And I'm taking my StazOn cleaner and I'm right away cleaning this stamp. You don't want to leave StazOn cleaner on your photopolymer stamps. So what I will be doing in a second here is misting this again, but this time with water, just to make sure I've removed all of that StazOn cleaner. And then I will just put this back in my stamp set, and it's ready to go for the next project. Alright, so this is ready to color. Now to color this, I'm going to flip it over and add my Stampin' Blends on the reverse side. So the 2 Stampin' Blends I'm using to color this with are my dark old olive and my dark rich raspberry. I'm going to start with my old olive, and I'm just going to color the top center. And because they're alcohol inks, they will move around quite loosely on the window sheet until it dries. And now I'm adding some of my dark rich raspberry, and it does move that old olive around when it touches it, but it gives it a really neat look. Now this will dry pretty quickly. So if you want to make this darker, you can add more ink, which I'm going to go ahead and do. Okay, gonna let that sit there for a minute, and now I'm going to go back in with the second coat of my rich raspberry. Now the next step is punching these out. So I'm taking the coordinating punch and just simply punch it out. And because it's a window sheet, you do have to push a little bit harder with your punch. And these are going to be turned into a butterfly. So those are going to be the butterfly wings. Isn't that pretty? So let's set those aside for a second, and I'm going to bring in my base for my post-it note holder. Now this is old olive cardstock. It measures 7 inches by 3 1/4, and what I did is I scored it at the 3 1/4 inch along the 7-inch side. So I went down at 3 1/4 and slid it over and went down at 3 3/4. So that is a very simple little book for our post-it notes. I have a piece of basic black. This measures 3 by 3, and a piece of our Best Dressed Designer Series paper, and this measures 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere my Designer Series paper to the basic black. And I'm going to stamp Hello Sunshine for the sentiment on this. And now I'm using the black memento because obviously I'm not stamping on a window sheet, and I'm just going to stamp it right there. And I'm going to set that aside. Now the next thing I'm going to show is a fun way of dyeing our ribbons using our Stampin' Blends. And I'm just taking the bold tip and I'm just going right down, and then that will dye this. And I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. Instead of doing the whole piece in Old Olive, I'm going to incorporate some rich raspberry in there as well, just for fun. Okay. And now my rich raspberry. And this, I should mention, is our 1/4 inch white crinkled seam ribbon. But this will work with all of our white ribbons. And because it's alcohol based, it dries right away. So now I have dyed my ribbon to match my project, which is pretty cool. So I'm just going to take a piece of this and trim it. I'm going to add a bit of snail. And I'm just going to wrap that around like so, securing it in the back. Okay. I'm going to put some more snail on here and then put this on the front of my Post-it note holder. So I'm just going to put that on like so. Alright, so I've just got my bow. I'm going to take a glue dot and use that to put it on the front. Now I'm going to take some tear tape and just put that on the inside of the book, just to really give a little extra adhesive for the Post-it notes. Now let's bring this back in. When you touch your window sheets, one side will feel rough, one side will feel smooth. The rough side is the back side. That is the side that we put the markers on. So you want it rough side down. You want the side that you put markers on facing down. Now we are going to heat this with the heat tool until this curls up. So you don't want to hold the heat tool super close to it, and it will take a few minutes, but you will see that the window sheet will curl up, and that's such a fun way to get a 3D look. Okay, so I've just zoomed in a little bit, and this works really great with flowers and leaves. Really fun technique. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. Alright, so there it is. It has curled up and it will harden up. Now I will say this is not a 30-second technique. This takes a good couple of minutes, and you're probably going to think, oh, it's not working. It takes a few minutes. It's really got to warm up, but it is worth the wait because it's just such a fun technique. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the second one. Okay, so that one finally lifted. So, and it will be hot, obviously. So give it a few minutes to cool. But again, this is not like a 30-second thing. I actually, I know I sped this up, but in reality, it probably takes, I'm going to say, at least 3 minutes for each wing to curl. But if you're only making 1 or 2 of them for special gifts or for yourself, I think it's worth it. Mass producing, I wouldn't be heat embossing them. I would just put them on just after you punch them out, but to get that extra curl, it's pretty fun. So now I'm taking the umbrella handle and I'm going to stamp it with black memento, and this is going to be my antennas. So to do this, I'm just stamping once, Then I'm taking my basic black marker and I'm going to add the opposite side. Just like that. Easy. And now I'm going to take a glue dot and put one on the center of each wing. And line them up. Just like so. Now on the clearance rack on Stampin' Up! Right now, they have these needlepoint Nook mini buttons and they're super cute. So I'm going to take one of these tiny pink ones, put a glue dot behind it, and I'm just setting that down right on the center of the butterfly. And I have one of the large Stampin' Pearls here, and I'm going to take my rich raspberry Stampin' Blend marker and just color this pearl. And this is one of the fun things about our Stampin' Blends, is we can color our gems and embellishments with the alcohol markers. This is my last big large pearl, and it actually came off the package, so that's why I'm kind of doing it this way. So I'm taking a glue dot, I'm going to set that right on top of my button. Even though there's adhesive behind this pearl, I really don't want it to come off, so I'm just putting it on another glue dot. And look at what a beautiful embellishment. So here's the first one I made, and the difference is I just used rich raspberry on the ribbon instead of adding the green with the rich raspberry. So I hope you enjoyed this final project of my Under My Umbrella Stampin' Blends class. And if you watched all 4 videos, I hope you have lots of inspiration on how you can use your Stampin' Blends and also the Under My Umbrella bundle. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like a copy of the PDF tutorial with all the measurements and supplies, photos, and step-by-step instructions, the link will be in the description of this video. Happy stamping!